My unit, salute, SummerSlam 2025. Your amplified review begins right now. Night 1, 6 announced matchups. We will cover each matchup, the event in totality, and full transparency. We are doing this review in real time. For instance, match 1 just finished up, Roman Reigns and Jason Yeeterman versus the Brons. I got lots to say about that. We'll cover it. Full transparency as well, in just a little bit, I have a live stream scheduled for the main event, a live watch-along. CM Punk, Gunther for the world title. Don't worry, through the magic of YouTube, the magic of editing, you guys will be following this review flawlessly. Just sit back with your beverages, max relax while BC drops the SummerSlam facts. You guys don't have to do anything. I will come back after the live stream and resume this review. So it'll go seamless. I'm just letting you know, in case it seems like there are some transitions. We're doing the first several matchups, and then we're going to go live for a little bit. And probably when the event is over, I'll come back and finish up this review. I got to let you guys know how this is being done, just in case it seems a little haywire at times. This is a very unique review we're doing. Night 1 of a 2-night extravaganza. SummerSlam 2025. So I want to get right into it because there's a lot to cover, and like I said, I am going live in a little bit. But for this review, you're getting the entire event, Night 1. This entire card, you're getting the full amplified review. And it started off with Cardi B as your guest host. Cardi B starts this show with a long walk to the ring. It's probably no secret that BC doesn't know much about Cardi B. But I do know now that she's sexy as fuck. Absolutely. So I was kind of like, you might as well make the aisle longer if she's going to strut down the aisle like that. But then she got in the ring and they gave her a live mic, and I was kind of changing my mind at that point. You know, she tried, but she just started screaming. She just started screaming, yeah, New York, New Jersey, SummerSlam, Randy Orton, Tozawa, Hulk Hogan. I don't even know. She just started yelling names out. And I was like, New York and New Jersey was like, MetLife was like, even though like Cardi, she seems like a great gal. I think she actually likes pro wrestling too. I just think it's different when you get in the middle of that ring and they give you a live mic, even if that's what you're used to in your career, right? She's used to carrying that microphone and performing for hours. But it's different in the ring, and even though you think you have a game plan, the nerves kick in and you just start screaming. Listen, I don't know. She tried. Listen, hey, beautiful gal though, so at least that she has that going for her. Anyway, let's go into match number 1. This was Roman Reigns, as aforementioned, and Jason Yeeterman versus the Brons, right? Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker. Breaker has a headlock on Yeeterman early in this matchup and just starts singing directly at Roman Reigns. It was great. Because the chant was doing the whole Roman Reigns. That's getting so tiresome, by the way. These crowds have ran that into the ground like they do everything else. So Braun Breaker had enough too, and he's got a headlock on Yeeterman. He's looking right at Roman, and he just starts singing, Roman, you suck. Roman, you should have stayed away. I was just, that was an LOL moment. Legit. If I had coffee, it would have been spit out. I mean, this is the type of stuff that's going to make Braun Breaker very special in this industry. I'm telling you, man. He's not afraid, not just to talk trash to the crowd, which is a lost art these days for a heel, but very unique. He's not afraid to put himself out there, man. I really dug that. It may seem little, but in reviews like this, it's those details I actually want to speak about. Because that character trajectory is only on an uptick with things like that. Anyway, we go back to a little bit later in the match. Roman dives over the top rope. Dude was so amplified, he flew over Breaker and Bronson, right over them. Like a 747 over Disney World. Bah! Nice scenery, but we're going right over you. He almost landed on his dome piece. At the last second, he was able to kind of like just do like a somersault position and land on his back, I guess. But he almost landed on his dome piece. It reminds me of The Undertaker. I think that was also WrestleMania. Was that 25 or 26? With Shawn Michaels, I believe. I think it was 25. And he almost landed on his dome piece, but I think Undertaker was able to somehow, flip onto his back. I don't know. This was wild. Roman was okay, thankfully. It was just funny because Yeeterman, Jason Uso, was looking at him like, man, I used to be able to do that. Now you're doing it. So Jay was probably not too thrilled about that, but Michael Cole in this match was constantly screaming, unpredictable badass, and the Awzilla. Unpredictable badass and Awzilla. It was at nauseum, and this is BC's take on it. If they don't have badass nicknames, leave it out your mouth. Right? Can't we all just agree on that? If you don't have a badass nickname, leave it out your mouth. You got to come up with something better than unpredictable badass, and you definitely got to come up with something better than Awzilla. The finish was LBR. Lame beyond recognition. Uso spears Bronson Reed and then delivers a splash 1, 2, 3. That's it. Bronson Reed, a simplistic L. To try to put Jey Uso over to what? Nobody cares. Him as a main event was a fail, unfortunately. But they even know they had to take the title off of him. Right? It's Punk going for it. If you watched Unreal, in real time, they were going, uh-oh, he's blowing up. I don't know if he can handle it. We may have to change direction. There was one point where Uso went to Helmsley and said, I'm just gassed. So I don't know what we're pushing. He's a good mid-carder. That's it. He should be in a tag team with Jimmy because it works better and they can both yeet. It can be a double yeet session. That'll make all the Chuck E. Cheese parties better. Both Usos. But whatever, I don't know. He gets a weird W over Bronson Reed. I guess the mini story is Roman Reigns pushed Jay out of the way and took a spear from Breakker or one of the two. Breakker, I believe. So Roman protected his cousin. He's never done that. He's always looked out for himself. Well, what's the... Okay. What the heck does that mean? So now Roman's got a generous side. That's great. That's all we need. You know, it's sad enough that Roman has nothing. Let's be honest. This is nothing. He's been gone since Mania. And I don't care if he was supposed to take on Rollins one-on-one or not, and they had the change course. Then you go Breakker and Roman and you make it special. But this tag match, this is peanuts. This is nothing. And then he doesn't even get the W. And now he's got a heart of gold. He saved his cousin. I really hope there's somewhere special that they're headed with this. Because this, man, it just feels like Roman has taken such a back seat. I understand you don't want him always in the title picture. That's fine. But this was not a consolation prize if he was supposed to take on Sethington. And then, so that's match number 1. No harm, no foul. Crowd was into it. It's 6 p.m. New York and Jersey time, tri-state time. So, I mean, they were still energetic. The night hasn't caught up to them. A lot of this match, a lot of people were actually on their feet for. So, crowd was into it. Match was okay. Finish was absolutely lame. We'll see what match 2 can present. This was a tag title match for the ladies. This is Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, right? Who still have their differences. They're trying to become besties. That's their little side story. And they're taking on champions Raquel Rodriguez and Rok-C, Roxanne Perez, the current champs. So we'll talk about that. Let me actually crack this coffee, and we'll talk about this tag match and the rest of the card. All right, little change in plans in the coffee. I'm going to save the Frappuccino for the live stream in a little bit. And we went to the Amplified Coffee Maker 5000 with a Joffrey's Extra Extra. That's what we're rocking right now. That's getting better too, man. If you guys saw the Unreal series, I popped some vessels, doing some amplified biceps. The coffee was flowing, camera was rolling, BC's rocking, the unit was rocking, and yeah, we got a little extra amplified. Getting better though, man. It was a lot worse. Does not affect the gym. We still been clanging and banging. All right, let's get into it, man. This is the tag title match. Judgment Day's Roxanne Perez, Rok-C, and Raquel Rodriguez taking on challengers Charlie Flair, Charlotte, and Alexa Bliss. Now, if you guys don't know, the truth is, as sad as it is to say, it's the truth. This tag team is only to get Charlie over. I've said it a million times on the channel, but I know sometimes there's just a lot of new people that, come to the channel, and maybe you haven't heard this or maybe you haven't even thought about it, but this is the case, and history is just repeating itself. They've done this numerous times, most notably with Asuka and Charlie. When Asuka was the champion, everybody was loving Asuka. Charlie was not getting that same reception, and the company was pissed. So the company put Charlie with Asuka, and we all know how that all ended up. So fast forward now, and Charlie comes back after her hiatus, wins the Rumble, and nobody cares. People are booing. Alexa comes back at the Rumble, gets one of the best responses of the night. They're like, uh-oh, we have an issue. They keep Alexa off of Mania. They put Charlie in a title match at Mania. People revolt even more against Charlie and demand Alexa back. So they said, all right, listen, we can't win. We don't want to push Alexa as the person. We want Charlie. So we're going to put Charlie with Alexa. And through proxy, right, if we can put them together, Charlie will get the rub. And that ovation that Alexa gets will transfer to Charlie. That's the hope. It remains to be seen if it's going to work. It's worked a little bit. Today's crowd with a lot of kids dragging their parents out and all the chanting and they just want to participate. Okay, it might work a little bit. But in totality, I think history will repeat itself and it's not going to work. It's going to fall flat on its face. But that's the whole point of this team. And there was no way that SummerSlam was going off the air and Alexa and Charlie were not going to win tag titles. And they're really trying to work up this besties, right? This side story. Are they going to be friends? Are they going to be besties? I really feel bad for Alexa. She had all the momentum in the world and they just stuck Charlie with her. And you guys may be thinking, BC, it's not a bad gig, man. She's a tag team champion now. Trust me, when this is all said and done, you're gonna see that this is for Charlie. And when it's said and done, Alexa will unfortunately be missing big events, maybe sitting in catering week after week, and Charlie will be skyrocketed once again singly. It's unfortunate. Now for this match, there's nothing to talk about. It was roughly 10 minutes in length, give or take a minute. Alexa Bliss hits Sister Abigail, and the new tag team champions, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Now you're thinking, well, BC, at least they gave Alexa the W. They had to. Again, the whole point of all this is to get that over, that ovation, that response, that love that Alexa gets over to Charlie. They've already made a mistake a few weeks ago. They had one-on-one matches with Roxanne and Raquel versus Alexa and Charlie. Charlie won hers. So not only was the referee holding up Charlotte's hand, but Alexa was too. And then when Alexa had her one-on-one match, Alexa lost. And there was some backlash to that. They're like, really, man? This is supposed to be a team. Charlotte is still getting all the glory. Alexa's getting nothing. So they made sure to correct that. So it was the right call if you're going to have new champions. Yes, Alexa has to be dominant here. Because that's who the crowd is cheering for. So it remains to be seen. I don't know, man. I said this during the Unreal series. Watching Ashley Flair backstage, where's that personality? Where's that charisma? Fun and just like... And then you see the character Charlotte and it's just... There's a wall. And it's so robotic. I love characters. And if it's just yourself with the volume turned up, cool. But for 10 years, it's not working with Charlie. 10 years plus. And it's clear that Ashley Flair is so much... There's so much more there. There's not a relatability. I don't like that word because I think we need less relatable and more larger than life. But if something's not working for over 10 years and you've tried everything and you've turned her face and heel 1,000 times, maybe tap into the likability more. Not necessarily relatability, likability. Try a little bit more Ashley in the Charlotte character. Just try it. And maybe then her and Alexa could be something cool. Until then, I'm not feeling this because I know what this is all for, and I'm not down for this. I didn't like when they did it to Asuka. I don't like what they're doing to Alexa. Alexa was once a certified badass. Bray Wyatt and Alexa. And you went from badass to bestie. Nah, that doesn't sound like an upgrade. Sounds like a downgrade. New champions, though. We'll see where it goes. Probably 2 months in catering, and then on a random SmackDown or a Raw, they'll defend it and lose it. We'll see. Up next is going to be Sami Zayn taking on Karrion Kross. I'll say the same thing I said at Night of Champions. Karrion has to win this match. Michael Cole said it 1,000 times at Night of Champions. and he still lost. Stupidly. With one haluva kick. Then why just say he... So, this is huge for Karrion Kross, man. And he talked a lot of shit since Night of Champions. Alright, well, here you go. Here's another one. Is Samuel just gonna take this, swig a coffee? We're gonna talk all about it. I don't get this at all, man. Karrion Kross just lost this match looking up at the lights via one haluva kick. Same exact finish from Night of Champions. I didn't understand this match from the beginning. Because nobody wins here, right? Sami Zayn won the first one. Okay, so they're just going to split it and then we have to do a rubber match? Or does Karrion Kross just get the W this time just on a bigger stage? He really needed the Night of Champions victory. That's the one he needed. This would have been a consolation prize, but it is a bigger stage and you are doing the rematch. So, okay, we're going to sit back and have our coffees, have our beverages, and we'll see what you produce. And they produced the same exact finish as Night of Champions. A haluva kick. Karrion's looking up at the lights. Sami, after the match, looks at Karrion and says, we're done. And Karrion's like, okay, sorry. Literally, he's like shaking his head like, all right, man, I suck. What in the... I don't understand. I don't understand Helmsley's mental block. Because there's a failure to communicate. The fans want LA Knight. He says no. The fans said, R-Truth, this is the time to do something special. He says no. The fans said, Karrion Kross, even though you never use this guy, even though he's about to be released or you're not going to re-sign him once his contract is up, I say you do something with him. There's something special with Karrion. He was in the top 5 in merchandise and they don't even use him. The crowd was telling you organically, do more with Kross. Helmsley says no. Or says, okay, we will. We'll have him job out to Sami a couple of times. And we still won't re-sign him. I have no idea. I have no idea what this dude's malfunction is. Karrion Kross, even if you're going to have this dude lose twice to Sami Zayn, twice, this is purposeful, right? Making him look like an absolute joke and a jobber. A haluva kick both times. Not even any substance, right? Not even making Karrion Kross look badass in defeat. I'm not saying he's got to take 10 finishers, but maybe at the end of this match, Sami had a pipe that Scarlett gave him, right? Try to get him DQ'd. But maybe you figure out a way where he does hit Karrion. Doesn't get DQ'd though, but the pipe is used. And that sets up the haluva. I still can't stand the fact that Karrion lost, because it shouldn't be happening twice in a row. But at least you make Karrion, you protect him in defeat. Even heels need to be protected in defeat. This is so bad, man. If we were doing a regular good, the bad, and the ugly, that would have gotten 5 uglies. Easily. It's that pathetic. Nobody cares if Sami Zayn can win a world title or not, because that's the story they're trying to tell. It's the same thing we just saw with Jason Yeeterman. When they're down on their luck and everybody's telling them you'll never win the world title. We just did it with Jey Uso. It was exhausting. This is nauseating and exhausting. Karrion Kross, always backstage every week. You're never going to win the big one, Sami. So what, guys? Is Sami Zayn going to one day soon be world champion? Yay! Another mid-carder with a world title. How'd that work out for Jason Yeeterman? These are hard words, I know, but these are amplified truths. You come here for honesty, no bullshittery, no sugarcoating. We like Sami, I get it. I even like Jey Uso. They're mid-carders with world titles. Sami eventually is. Without good booking, good luck making people like BC give a shit. That's amplified truth. I can't believe this. This is so bad. They tried to protect it afterwards. They went to a Hulk Hogan tribute. Nick Hogan in the crowd with his wife, and he's got a nice little like yellow or red tie with a yellow... I don't know. He's got some yellow and red. I think it was a tie, right? And they played the music of Hulk Hogan through MetLife's speakers. We had a little tribute from Michael Cole. So that was pretty cool to honor Hulk Hogan. And then all of a sudden we cut to, in the front row, a couple of wrestlers An iguana and a clown, a psycho clown and a Mr. Iguana. That's true. An iguana and a clown. I think it's the same guy who on SmackDown but broke his nuts. It was the iguana's debut on the main roster, and he tried to dance on the top ropes. He slipped, totally botched, and cracked his nuts. But he was in the front row, so apparently he's going to keep getting TV time, because why would you give that TV time to R-Truth? Why would LA Knight get that TV time? Karrion Kross, he might be back in catering till 2056. I'm going to drink more coffee. I got tangled up with the wires. I had to switch the coffee sign over. That's why. If you're really attention to detail, the coffee sign was the other way. My wires got mixed up. I was going to switch up mics, but we're switching things. It's all haywire, man, ever since Karrion Kross lost that match. I don't know, man. I'll try to regroup here, down some more coffee, and we'll go into, I believe this is match number 4. I think after this one, we're going to go into the live stream. Again, you guys don't have to do anything, but there's going to be definitely some readjusting after this matchup. So, yeah, more coffee, and then we'll go into, I think this is going to be Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill for the Women's Championship. Wow, man, what a live stream. I believe it's a couple of hours from that last segment of this upload. For full transparency. I believe the last match we reviewed was the Karrion Kross Sami Zayn matchup, which I was not happy with at all. And then we were going into the Tiffany and Jade match, but I didn't review that. I believe we set up for the live stream, and I was actually able to go live for the last 2 matches, the Roll of Jelly match and the Punk Gunther Championship title match. And that is what we just came off of, man. The live stream just ended. I want to thank every single one of you that hung with BC in the unit during that live stream, man. Almost an hour and 45 minutes, I believe. And that was one of the funnest streams we've ever done, man. You guys made SummerSlam. You turned the heat up on SummerSlam, man. I can't say the card did that. I can't say Helmsley brought his A game or even close. But you guys did, man. And that was so much fun, bro. I'm still on a high from that live stream. A lot of coffee was drank, clearly. We were just extra amplified for sure. Thank you guys. Honestly, that was just a wild live stream. So now what I want to do is I want to go over those last 3 matchups, though, that I did not review yet, clearly. So I will start with Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill for the championship. This matchup was not that long in length, and that's for many reasons. Jade Cargill can only go so far. To her credit, this could have been actually just straight up bad, guys, but Jade Cargill held her own. She's improving. The problem with Jade is it's just so slowly that she is improving. And this leads many to believe, or to ask those questions, is her heart and mind truly in pro wrestling, or is this just a stepping stone? Is this just for now? Because there's a lot of similarities to Brock Lesnar and a lot of things that Jade doesn't like about the business. And it took Brock away. Things like travel and the scheduling. So maybe the title didn't go to Jade for those reasons as well. Maybe the suits and ties and Helmsley is starting to see. Maybe we can't put the whole rocket on Jade Cargill. But Jade didn't do bad in this match, regardless of what people thought was going to happen. Maybe you thought the match sucked, that's fine. But the match was actually okay. The finish might have shocked a lot of people. Jade didn't get the title, and the prettiest moonsault ever was hit, and Jade was looking up at the lights, 1, 2, 3. I do think this is the right call for the reasons I mentioned. Yes, I just don't know if Jade is the person, and I've always been a big Jade supporter. I always said the presence, the look. I mean, if she has bare minimum talent, she's most likely getting the rocket, and she's going to be a dominant part of this industry. But it just hasn't panned out. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it's clicking for Jade. And even to BC, it doesn't feel like she's totally in this. And so do you put the title on her? I mean, did Tiffany beat Charlotte at Mania just to lose it to Jade just because it's Jade? They decided, no, they're going to go Tiffany, and Tiffany defeated Jade straight up. It's not often. When do we see Jade Cargill one-on-one looking up at the lights from a finisher? That's what happened on this SummerSlam. A lot of people shocked that it didn't go to Jade Cargill, but I'm telling you right now, this was that defining moment for Tiffany. I cannot express to you how big this matchup was for Tiffany. Dare I say this was bigger than the Charlotte victory at Mania? I said it. You're damn right I said it. Because with the booking in WWE, especially with championships, you get a big victory like that over somebody like Charlie, and then by the next big event, you're dropping the title. Maybe we play some hot potato, maybe we flip it back and forth. But what you saw with Tiffany is not only beating Charlie at Mania, but then at the next big event, which is months later, so first of all, she's held the title that long, then she's beating somebody like Jade, who we know the company has been high on since day one. This is back-to-back monumental victories for Tiffany Stratton. Guys, you don't think of Tiffany with a rocket, even with a title. Because Helmsley has his favorites, Charlie and Rhea Ripley and Jade. But unlike Io Sky, and it sucks to say that, right? But Io is one of those individuals like Asuka and so many where they've held a title, but they didn't do anything with it. It's like, give them a title, shut everybody up because everyone loves Asuka or everybody loves Io. So give them a title and they can sit at catering. Or they can come out and have triple threats or tag team with Rhea, who we really want to be the star. But Io never really had the defense like others. I'll just leave it at that, right? Helmsley's favorites and such. Io, Asuka, so many. They hold titles and they basically are just weighed down by them. But with Tiffany, she's starting to put together a resume. Tiffany Stratton, man, look at the list she's starting to... Now you can't just take it away from her. You gotta build on this. Perhaps, dare I say, and this is probably gonna ruffle a lot of people the wrong way, because you're thinking, oh no, don't have her hold it that long, BC. Or maybe you're not even a Tiffany fan, so this is already too long. But I'm gonna say it. She beat Charlie at Mania, she beat Jade at SummerSlam. I don't have Tiffany losing this until Mania. Or, if she's still a face by Rumble to a heel, hold it for a few months, and then the heel passes it off to a top face at Mania. I'm okay with Rumble if she remains a face. But if they hold off to Mania, I'm cool with this, because where else does Tiffany lose this, man? Before you know it, it's the holidays, right? Thanksgiving's around the freaking corner already. I can't believe summer's over next month. Where is she going to lose? Clash in Paris? Possibly Survivor Series if you have a one-on-one match. At least Rumble. And I say even Mania, because now people are finally looking at Stratton like not some little just beautiful blonde. She's got the squeaky voice. She's a good kid. She's got some talent. She's a flash in the pan. No, now people are going, damn, look at the people she's beating. This is the matchup that cemented Tiffany Stratton. I'm telling you right now, it's that monumental, guys. This is big. So the shock that Jade didn't get it, but once that fades off, start thinking clearly about Tiffany Stratton. You might be shocked Jade didn't get it, but you should be stunned that Tiffany Stratton is now off to the races. She is now cementing a legacy that I'm pretty sure they would have wished Charlie Flair had, because Tiffany actually has a connection with the crowd. I could go on and on with that, but I just... that's massive. That is such a massive W, man. They could have easily just take that. That's what this company does. The titles are nothing. They're like ornaments on a Christmas tree. Then one breaks, you can get another. You can hide one with another. You can take one off, replace it. Titles are nothing. Titles are like a dime a dozen. They don't even care who has them. But when you get a title reign like that, and you're beating people like that, that's huge. All right, that's all I'll spend on it. I know that went a little bit too long. I'm still running off of fumes from the live stream, man. So I had to talk some Tiffany Stratton. That was a big matchup. Don't worry, I'll shorten up on this next match because there's nothing to talk about. Roll of Jelly and Randy Orton got defeated by Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. Match was okay. Roll of Jelly held his own. He really dedicated himself to this. Awesome. Logan Paul was a shine out star like he always is. Drew and Randy did their thing. Wish they were in something more relevant that I cared about. And when it was all said and done, Logan Paul hits a splash onto the roll of jelly for the 1, 2, 3. That was it. Now they're going to try to sell it like the splash on the outside onto the commentary table onto Jellyroll. That's what really broke some ribs probably, right? But Jellyroll, he hulked up and he went back to the ring, and then he took that second splash, and that's what did him in. Well, maybe you could have said you should have stayed with that extra weight. Now, I'm all for the extra, being healthy, absolutely. But if you're a wrestler, maybe the extra weight helps. In fact, if you got Logan Paul about to splash you, that extra weight could have helped. And then you go on the diet. All kidding aside, this was a lackluster finish. Guys, you could check out the crowd. They were pretty into the end of that match until the actual finish. And then they were like, what that was it? The roll of jelly just got beat by a splash? It didn't feel like SummerSlam. It felt like something at a house show, and that was the finish. Not good. Not good at all. And then we went into the main event. This was CM Punk and Gunther. Again, I was live for this, man. And the first half of this match, very slow. It was a lot of test of strength, switch-ups, reversals. They really played into what the whole story was, if there was one. But it was, you think you're the best, I think I'm the best. At SummerSlam, let's find out who the best wrestler is. So they really tried to have an old-school wrestling match. And as I said on the live stream, I don't like flips and dive matches anyway. This is my kind of wrestling. I just wish the night was booked better and a lot more fun so that there could be that electricity in the crowd. But I don't blame them. They were asleep. You guys don't got to just take BC's word for it. Go check out this match again. Watch the crowd 90+% of this match up until the very end. They were asleep. They didn't care about any of it. And the booking of the night really put them to that point. And it wasn't until Gunther, he got his leg swiped on the commentary table. He was out for like 3 minutes. Camera was off of him. So he was putting a capsule or blading or one of the two. And when he came back up, he was sporting the crimson mask. He was bleeding. And as I said on my live crowd, I said, oh, that could have been an audible because the crowd was asleep and they need everyone on their feet for the finish. The way to do that, an easy way to do that in pro wrestling, sport the blood. Capsule, the hard way, just blade yourself either way. But if you're wearing a crimson mask and they see it on the Tron, everybody stands up and goes, oh. And sure enough, everyone goes, oh. They stand up and everyone's got their phone out. And about a minute later, 30 seconds, they went into their finishing sequences, which was a couple of GTSs, and Gunther was looking at the lights, 1, 2, 3, and no CM Punk. But until the end of that matchup, go back and watch, man. BC is always honest with you guys, man. This isn't just my opinions. Go back the entire match. It wasn't until Gunther stood up from the commentary table and was bleeding, and that's when fans finally got into it. 2 minutes later, the match was over. Punk wins the title. And it just felt anticlimactic. Punk should have won this at Mania when that was the penciled-in match. Everybody wanted that match except for Helmsley, and he switched it up and he put Jey Uso in there. And we all know how that worked out. Jey Uso no longer is the champion. He's the side chick to Roman Reigns. Whether they want to give him the win tonight or not, doesn't matter. We all know Roman's the bigger star. Jey Uso is mid-card at best. He should be with his brother right now going for tag titles. They can yeet together. Double the yeeting. Everybody wins. He's in the tag team division, and we get actual main eventers in the main event. But we all know how that worked out. And it went right back to Gunther, and we have the same match that should have been at Mania. If this doesn't tell you how much Helmsley botched this, so now months later, we're getting the match that should have happened. So that's why it felt anticlimactic even when Punk won the match. I think it's the right decision. It sucks either way. Helmsley's booking is so poor that everybody was in a pickle. Everybody. Because if Punk wins, there's a good chance that Rollins is not as injured as we thought, and Rollins could cash in. And then Punk just gets screwed. He has a 2-minute title reign. That's foolish. You almost don't want to win the title at that point. People are going to laugh at that. And if you're Gunther and you get beat by Punk, you just lost a championship match again, twice in just a few months. One to an 8-second choke, your own move in 8 seconds to Jason Yeeterman. And then a few months later, after a few weeks ago, you just got it back. And a few weeks after that, Punk beat you from a GTS. Gunther is becoming an absolute jobber clown. You truly believe that at any moment, a grand a grand latte, cappuccino, what is he? Grande Americano. He could beat Gunther. Any one of them. Kaiser, it could be Gable, it could be Tozawa as the latte. And at this point, anybody could just pop up. It could be one of the members of Pretty Deadly. It could be the iguana guy with his little hand puppet iguana. Anybody can beat Gunther at this point because it's believable. Do you remember that there was a time where Gunther was feared? Gunther could have been a diabolical heel. Gunther should be a diabolical heel. Only he had long title reigns. And it was ruined by this booking from Helmsley. So no, nobody wins with this type of booking, but at the end of the day, it had to be Punk walking out with the title, and he won. But then Rollins' music hits, and he comes out in crutches, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So he did come out. This tells you it's not as long as we believed, or we're led to believe. I think he's coming back much sooner. But then he drops the crutches, and that's when BC knew. I was telling you guys, man, he was hurt for real, and he had to stay off of it. But we didn't hear about surgery or nothing. We were getting conflicted reports, and I said, what if? And nobody wanted to hear it. I said, what if he cashes in? Nobody wanted to hear it. I said it on the live stream. What if? Everyone's like, nah. Everyone said no. BC said, what if? And sure enough, he drops the crutches, and he takes referee Jess. He starts bonking CM Punk on his dome piece with the briefcase. Bell rings. Stomp. 1, 2, 3, and new champion. A second champion crowned within minutes. It's Sethington Rollins who steals the title at SummerSlam. CM Punk has a few-minute title reign. Gunther drops the title. CM Punk drops the title. Seth Rollins ends the show in Indian position with Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker out there. Everyone's hovering over a passed out, down and out CM Punk, looking up at the lights. We fade to black. Show goes off the air. Sethington Rollins cashes in and becomes your new champion. CM Punk completely screwed over. But you see, it's storyline, this and that. Of course. Is it? Well, first of all, I doubt that. I don't think there's any story here. Helmsley is incapable of telling a story. They're day-to-day, they're minute-to-minute. Unreal has shown you that. So no, there is no story here. And for all I know, it could have been an audible because the crowd was asleep. Helmsley was reading the room. He was probably getting reports that the community's pissed off because the night one of SummerSlam, for all intents and purposes, sucked because it was so mid. Nothing special was happening. Even the Punk title change, it's not that WrestleMania moment. I wouldn't be shocked if it was an audible. But no matter what, man, it was not enough to save this night. It's a news story. Seth is now the title holder. Okay, is that going to move the needle? What happens now with Seth? Who's taking on Seth? Are we going to get more Seth versus CM Punk? Because now I'm still remembering Unreal. Remember when CM Punk and Seth were going over their EC matchup and they were going over all the moves like buddies? Yeah. Now we have to suspend that and go back into thinking we have to get ourselves in the mindset that they can't stand one another, right? They're enemies. They have such conflict. So they want to show you that they're buddies going over all their moves, and then they want to keep the feud going. You don't watch behind the scenes before you watch the movies. You don't watch bloopers and behind the scenes before you watch the movie. You watch them after. That's the problem with a show like Unreal. Because you're probably going to want to have rematches and go back to the same stories, or a story is still going, and you probably don't want to see the wrestlers just laughing it up. See now? Do you guys see now how exposing the business is probably not a good thing? Because now it doesn't even allow you to suspend disbelief. It's rubbing it in your face. How scripted and planned and how everyone's buddies. And so even when you get like Rollins and Punk, where you know they're going over things, you know they're cordial, but you do know that over the last 10 years, they've had said a lot of things again to one another. So you do believe that there is that animosity. And then you see a show like that and you're like, oh, maybe not so much. But they're going to carry on a storyline. We have to forget that they're such good buddies now because we have to put our mindset into the character work now. We have to watch our wrestling, which is just a scripted show. It's the same thing as your movies and your TV shows. No, wrestling was always better than that. So I don't know what Seth Rollins holding the title is supposed to do other than being a shock moment for SummerSlam because it was filled of nothing. No moments. So that's your one story. CM Punk got screwed and has a laughable 3-minute title reign. Sethington has it. Now Sethington will be on Raw cutting boring-ass promos about how he was the architect and has the title. Is this supposed to be a fun ride? CM Punk got screwed again? Of course he did. This is what Helmsley loved, and he's going to talk to Punk like he's a child, like Helmsley loves to talk to everybody. He wants everyone to look at him like Papa H. And because Punk is trying to be a company guy finally, he's accepting all of Helmsley's bullshit. Even if he doesn't believe it, he's trying to be the company guy. So then when he turns around, Helmsley's like, I got him right where I want him. He's not winning shit. I'll give you a title, not at WrestleMania, at the second big stage, SummerSlam, and then I'm only going to give it to you for 3 minutes. And then I'll tell Punk, don't worry, you did great, kid. We'll run it back, or we'll come back to this in the future. You'll have another title, possibly. You did great, though, man. We needed you to do this for the company. And Punk's going to be like, oh, thanks, man, appreciate it. Don't forget, Punk. On that Unreal series, Helmsley said it was him that cock-blocked you, that ghosted you. I said this on the live stream. CM Punk said himself just last week that he met with Vince a few years ago, and Vince brought Triple H to the meeting. They were going to do business. Punk was coming back. Helmsley revealed, and then Punk said he got ghosted. They just never got back to him. They never even sent a text, ghosted him. Helmsley revealed on the Unreal series that it was him that did it. He said, nope. I said, he's the same guy. We're not bringing him back. He told Vince. And they ghosted him. They cock-blocked him out of millions of dollars. Punk could have been back years ago. The AEW debacle could have never happened. Helmsley took it upon himself to cock-block talent. If I'm Punk, I'm pissed. And now Punk looks like a laughable idiot, man. A 3-minute title reign. He wasn't knocked out. He comes out and he gets dunked on the dome piece a few times with a briefcase, collects a stomp, and it's a traditional cash-in, where the bell rings and moments later the dude or the gal is looking up at the lights. This SummerSlam was very, very mid, and I'm being very generous. Tiffany winning, big moment for Tiffany. Can't say it's a moment I'll ever treasure or go back and watch 2 or 3 times, not even. Roman Reigns and Jason Uso defeated, who'd they beat? The other 2 Goon Squad members, man, the Brons. Jey Uso spears Bronson Reed almost out of Roman's Jordans. That's believable. And then a splash. Jey Uso hulking up. Go back to the mid-card, please. Roman Reigns is saving his Roman Reigns. What happened to Roman Reigns, man? Roman Reigns is like a second-piece fiddle in this whole event. Roman Reigns starting the night, not even collecting the W. Or at least himself. His cousin is who he saved. What are we doing with Roman Reigns, man? This was SummerSlam. The dude was out for months, and this is the best you got? And remember the plan? He was supposed to take on Rollins? Rollins looks good to me. Romans doesn't even feel special anymore. That was his SummerSlam. Karrion Kross is looking up at the lights the same way that he did at Night of Champions. For what? Mid-card Sami Zayn? He's going to be right back tomorrow morning at his job at the Home Depot, his 9 to 5, and nobody's going to care about his autograph or take a picture. It's just Sami Zayn. Sammy from Home Depot. No reason for him to beat somebody like Karrion Kross. You need diabolical heels right now. Karrion could have been that guy. Charlotte Flair collects a tag title. Yeah, Alexa does too, but only for the rub to Charlie. In just a little bit, they'll end up breaking up or having a match or go their separate ways. Charlie will go on to another championship, and Alexa will be right back to eating triple-layered moose cake at catering. This SummerSlam was mid-AF. I'm being generous. They have one more night tomorrow night. By the time you guys see and hear this, probably night 2 of SummerSlam, to pick up their act, clean it up, do better. But how can Helmsley give us a good show if he's chumming it up with presidents and talking at First Take about the Unreal series and doing commercials? He's doing everything but being creative for all of us. And then when we say the shows aren't good, he tells you to fuck off. You're not even a real fan. Well, I guess none of us are a real fan then. Because I'm sure most of us, if we're being honest, are going to call this show mid. Do better. Night 1 was a bust. Thank goodness for my amplified unit in that live stream. You guys made it a lot of fun. You guys made it feel like SummerSlam. Much love to all the boys and gals that went out there and did the deed. I wish Helmsley gave a shit more about your booking, about your trajectory, about what you're doing, but he doesn't. And so that affects a lot of the reactions. It affects everything. Man, without good booking, without people really behind you, man, it's just a lot of weird shit. And that's what this whole Night 1 was. A lot of weird shit. We'll see what Night 2 has, man. Until next time. And there will be that next time, Night 2's review. I'm sure I'll have a lot to say about it. So stay locked on the channel. This is John Cena, Cody Rhodes. If you saw the live stream, you know how I feel about this already. You got the cage match. Yeah, I don't even know. There's a bunch of matches. Rhea Ripley, Io, and Naomi. So we'll see. It's a low bar that they set today. So Night 2 has to be better, right? Right? 44 dive. That's a wrap. BC in the unit, we're saying check you. SummerSlam Night 1 in the books. Night 2, we'll see you then. Salute, unit.